One morning, the industrial zone's technical department suddenly became bustling with activities. It was already 9 a.m, but Yun was nowhere to be seen, which aroused the two workers' curiosity. One of them said that Yun had left work early for his girlfriend's birthday yesterday, so there might be a chance that the guy had overslept. As soon as the man finished his sentence, he saw another man rushing and looking worried as he broke bad news to them. His forehead was dripping with sweat. He told everyone that Yun had been rushed to the hospital as he was involved in an accident. Needless to say, everyone instantly rushed to the hospital to check on their friend. As they arrived at the place, they were relieved to find out that Yun was not in a critical condition. They quickly asked the doctors about his situation, as everyone felt worried when they heard Yun had fallen from a high story. Yun laid on the bed with his face covered with bruises and cuts, looking sorrowful as he couldn't move his body. Two of his friends asked him what had happened. Yun dilated his eyes. He looked scared as he told them about his encounter with a ghost. Yesterday, the man was invited to a birthday party. As he met the woman whom he once loved and found out that she had been married, Yun had drunk a bit too much. Feeling wasted, the man said goodbye to his friends and then walked back home. Yun staggered all the way home. He didn't even know if he was taking the right direction. As the man walked for a while, he stopped by a construction site and found out that the road ahead was under repair due to its bad condition. But Yun kept walking as he was too drunk. He bumped into a sign and fell next to a hole. Yun immediately panicked. He was very close to falling down the hole. He crawled near to it and looked down. Its depth scared him instantly. There were rocks and steel at the bottom of the hole. Despite being scared, Yun felt blessed as he had just escaped death. He angrily got up and released all his pent-up emotions to the sign as he kicked it down the hole. As it reached the bottom, the man laughed cynically as he was delighted to remove the thing out of his sight. All of a sudden, Yun wanted to vomit. The guy seemingly had drunken too much. He went to a corner and threw up. As the man finished his business, he felt so comfortable. However, right that moment, Yun heard a motorcycle sound from behind him. A couple was seen driving to the construction site at a high speed. Yun turned around in panic as he realized the two was heading to the large hole. But as soon as the man could react to it, a loud noise was heard. Sensing something awful had happened, Yun approached the spot, and the scene before his eyes immediately terrified him. A dreadful look appeared on his face. Sweat rolled down his cheeks as he grinded his teeth, knowing he had made a fatal mistake. The couple had fallen down the hole. Their bodies laid unmoving in a pool of blood. Their bike had been badly damaged. The two had died at the scene, and what was seen at the spot was extremely terrifying. Yun quickly ran away after witnessing the incident. Even though it wasn't his sole purpose, his actions had directly caused the two to die tragically. As he finally made his way back to the apartment building, he gently opened the door, carefully not to wake anyone, while praying that nothing bad would happen to him. He got on his bed feeling fearful, trembling, pleading for mercy. He even reassured himself that nothing bad would happen as it wasn't entirely his fault. The next morning, while his friends had left for work early, Yun was still half awake. He tried to sleep a bit longer and hoped what happened last night was just a bad dream of his. However, a few moments later he heard something growling behind him, and the room was taken over by an eerie atmosphere that made his skin crawl. As the man looked up, he instantly got startled by the horrifying scene of the couple dying in the hole last night. They were covered with blood as they screamed loudly and threatened to kill him. Yun shouted loudly. He covered himself with his blanket. It was indeed them. They were standing next to his bed, looking creepy. In a blink of an eye, the man opened his mouth widely as he wanted to eat Yun alive. Yun instantly jumped off his bed. He dodged the sharp nails of the dead couple and ran away in fear. But it was impossible for him to do it as the two were standing next to the main door. So he made his way to the balcony as it was the only way for him to escape. Yun looked down. His heart beat erratically as he was currently at the 7th story of the building. It would be nothing but suicide to jump down from this height. He would definitely end up dying the same way like the dead couple. But it wasn't the only thing that scared him, now as the ghost approached him looking ferociously. Their eyes were filled with anger. The male ghost extended his arm to Jan, revealing the sharp fingernails while grinding its teeth as it rushed to him. Jan recoiled in horror. As he found himself to be in a tight corner, he pleaded for mercy as there was no way else for him to run. But the male ghost didn't hesitate for a bit. It pushed Jan to fall off the balcony as an act of revenge for what he had done the night before. The push caused Jan to lose his balance and he fell over the balcony. Jan was in extreme fear. He raised his arm in despair. From the balcony, the ghost was staring at him and laughing demonically. However, it was fortunate of Jan to land on a large branch, which greatly reduced the damage of the fall. Thanks to the tree branch, the man still survived after the fall. Jan laid unmoving on the ground, his whole body paralyzed as he unconsciously gazed up. There was no one at the balcony. After laying on the floor for about an hour, he was found by a security guard and quickly rushed to a hospital. As Jan regretfully told the story to his friends, he told them not to be worried much about him. The two friends were astonished to find out about the tragic incident. They quickly went to the construction site and noticed that the hole was being sealed by a road worker. The worker confirmed there was a couple who unfortunately fell down the hole last night, but they survived and had been put under special treatment. The two men were surprised. They then went to the hospital to verify what the road worker had told them. As they arrived at the place, a nurse told them there was indeed a couple being taken to the hospital last night. The woman was slightly injured, but the man was in critical condition. However, he had overcome it and was slowly getting better. The two men then went to the couple's cots. They were still alive, which confused them, as Jan had previously confirmed that the couple didn't make it. The vengeful story which they had been told by Jan no longer made sense now. They started doubting if it was just a nightmare of his. There must be a strong likelihood that Jan had hallucinated and felt disgusted by his sins, an effect that was caused by the excess of alcohol he took in that night. As he was haunted by the scene at the construction site, he had jumped off the balcony and fell on the ground.